Here we go. Here we go. Well, welcome in everybody to another live edition of 410 Sports Talk. I'm James Haskell, accompanied by my co-host Glenn Martin, and we are here to talk about none other than the Baltimore Ravens. Glenn, a lot of news going on these days.
Lots of news. Of course, the practice squad was announced. We last saw everyone when the final 53 roster was announced. And so the bulk of our last show was surrounding Kenyon Drake signing and then the surprises, during cutdown day.
Yep.
And so now we do get a bit more information coming out with the Ravens practice squad being released. And also, can see other guys who I think the Ravens were hoping would return to the practice squad, but ultimately signed elsewhere in search for a better opportunity. So I guess we'll start with the list. Is that you think that's a good place to start?
Yeah, I think that's a good place to start. So let's start there.
Okay.
Let's start with this list. And I thought it was interesting because all the guys that originally, if I'm not mistaken, that they cut originally, none of them got picked up on waivers.
Well, not originally, yeah, but one that came one day later did get picked up. But,
yeah, for sure.
Yeah, so you can see the list here. Anthony Brown, no surprise there. Tyler Beatty, no surprise that the Ravens wanted him back, being as though he's a 6th-round pick, but surprised that he was cut in the first place. But excited to see him back and that, they can continue to kind of try and develop him into, a player. Ben Mason, any surprise at all that they're still carrying Ben Mason, or is this expected on this team?
Well, I have to give Ben Mason props for this. I thought he did pretty well in special teams.
Mm-hmm.
And so, man, I don't know. It is surprising to now have another roster spot dedicated to fullback. But so I'm a little surprised, I guess, is what I would say. What about you?
A little bit, but I guess if something were to happen to Project Pat, I'd be certainly happy that they have Ben Mason on the practice squad. And then a couple other guys who were roster hopefuls, Mekhi Polk, wide receiver, as well as Riley Webb and Benjamin Victor, all three wide receivers that were fighting for that last spot, but none of them were able to prove to the team, the coaches, that they were worthy of that spot. But the good news is they got more time to try and impress those coaches and front office members that maybe didn't see what they were looking for, with the fact that now they're on the practice squad. So happy to see those guys out there, and mostly happy to see Mekhi Polk in that. I think he might have the highest upside. Benjamin Victor has been around. Yeah, Riley Webb. I like Riley Webb. I just think the coaches, I don't know what it is. The guy performed, but he certainly didn't seem like he had much of a realistic shot of making the 53. Yeah. But I'm happy to see Mekhi on the practice squad.
Yeah, for sure. I like this list in and of itself. I mean, like you said, a lot of these guys have some upside and have flashed.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's just about consistency at this point for some of them. I think that a few that I'm excited about, maybe not so much for this year, but our Darius Washington, I thought, had a solid end to camp.
Yeah.
I thought he came in and played really well and showed some physical improvement, showed some instinctual improvement. So I'm excited to see what he develops into moving forward. But the other one I want to mention is I think Keyvon Seymour is not long for this list. I think there's possibility that as he continues to improve in his health, that he might find his way on the active roster before too soon.
Yeah, I think it could come down to, just like you said, that ankle that he hurt, whenever that's feeling better. And he could be one of those guys, a portion of these guys have the ability to be elevated game day to the active roster and then revert right back to the practice squad as soon as the game's over. And I think the candidates for that, certainly Keyvon Seymour fits that bill. Daryl Worley fits that bill. And then Steven Means, if he's not the top guy on that list, as far as guys that I expect Steven Means to be active every game day.
Oh, right.
So while he's on the practice squad, he's going to be just as much of a game day participant as many of the other guys around him who are on the active roster.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I'm glad certainly the Ravens were strategic about how they, and every team is, but we follow the Ravens. They were plenty strategic about how they construct a 53-man roster, and then how, of course, they build out this practice squad. And so we were happy, I think, both of us, to see that Means didn't go elsewhere and that we were able to keep him here and have him, with an opportunity for him to, like you said, be active as the 53-man roster continues to shake out.
Now, I didn't hear or see, but there's one name that I see that jumps out at me as it's missing on this list, and fan favorite around here was Shamar Bridges.
Yeah, because of the injury.
Oh, is that what it was? Okay, the injury settlement. Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah.
So he will not be returning to the practice squad. Is that fair to say, Jimbo?
Yeah, as far as I understand, and one of the things we still haven't been able to figure out is the distinction between waived injury, right? Like, I don't think we've been able to figure out that distinction. Maybe there isn't one, but ultimately he was injured late in camp, and that was the reason he was waived, and he's not on because I know he's getting surgery. If I believe today was what was reported. So
okay.
He's just got to go through that.
Yeah.
So we might see him next year back in camp.
Could be. And another guy, I think it was kind of surprising to see not here or not, back there, also waived with the injury attachment there was Dalen Hayes, right? I mean,
I guess that's true. Yeah. I didn't think about that.
Yeah, he was another guy that was waived for the same reasons. But that rounds out the practice squad. Now, there's also a new addition. Is that not right, Jimbo, to the active roster who's coming over from a different team?
Yeah, let me make sure I get his name right. Oh man, he's a Jets player. Is it Del Phillips?
Delshon
Phillips, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I knew there was an apostrophe in there somewhere, and I couldn't quite figure it out. But yeah, so he's a outside backer, if I'm not mistaken. He's a pass rush type player. No crazy numbers. I don't really expect too much from him. I have a hunch here. A lot of teams like to do this. They'll pick up fringe guys, to get some insight into their former team. Do you think guys just give that up willingly?
Well, I think if you want a job, you do, right?
Yeah.
Like, I think you're absolutely right. This isn't the first time we've seen teams sign players from the upcoming opponent. And I think that it's pretty safe to say that they're debriefed as soon as they enter the room, and we could be maybe,
no, we're not.
No, I think that's exactly why he's
yeah.
That's why he's here. But he is 6'2", 230, so he's undersized by a pretty good amount when you consider the typical size of linebacker. So I have him listed as just a linebacker, not an outside, but I'm assuming what you're referring to is he has some positional versatility, not just one or the other. But at 6'2", 230, I don't think he's going to be in there stacking the edge anytime soon for the Ravens. So if he is in there on the outside, I'm assuming it'll be pass rusher coverage.
Yep, 100%. And it's going to be interesting to see how that all plays out. And who knows? He might be one of those guys that isn't long for the roster, right? Week 2, he might not be here anymore at that point. So that'll be interesting to see.
Yep.
But I want to get to the move that I think drew some raised eyebrows yesterday and some mixed opinions. And that is the Ravens roster move, that they made with Tyre Phillips, of course, and letting him go. Yeah. So Glenn, I just want to get your thoughts on it initially. Where are you at as far as the Ravens handling of Tyre Phillips?
Yeah, so surprised to see him gone in the way in which he was let go. I think that if he was to go, I was assuming that they could maybe get a back end of the draft pick for him in return, and it looks like they tried and the interest wasn't there, so ultimately they decided to release him. Surprised in that he's the competition opened at left guard this year, and I think it was a pretty open competition between Powers, Tyre Phillips, and I think and as an outside shot, Ben Cleveland as well. But
I think it might have started that way, but
exactly. Because I think they wanted if the season started, the all-season program starts, I think they wanted to give the ball to Tyre Phillips, but the inconsistencies were just too much for a coach like John Harbaugh to overlook. To overlook all those inconsistencies, the pass or the penalties that he was having.
Mm-hmm.
That's the problem with Tyre is he did everything to kind of shoot himself in his own foot. Mental errors is a big no-no, especially in the offensive line when you're protecting the most important part of your franchise in the quarterback. So you're having mental errors where you're not understanding your assignment and you're missing blocks. Then you compound that with multiple penalties. It's not like he had one, maybe an overzealous false start. No, he had multiple penalties, and he had penalties that are drive killers. He had holding penalties. You cannot have pre-snap penalties, and you can absolutely not have holding penalties if you're going to play on the offensive line for the Ravens, because this is a team that has to stay, or at least certainly benefits from staying ahead of the chains. And a first or second and 20, can really hinder this offense and create, having a first down. So I'm not stunned that he's no longer here. I'm a bit surprised that they couldn't get anything for him, though.
Yeah, I think I agree with you on that point because he has upside.
Yeah.
And he's young. I mean, he's got plenty of size. He's got ideal size. He's large for a guard, right? Like, he's got ideal size, honestly, for a tackle.
Yeah.
And above average athleticism for his position as well. But this is what I really want to know, because I have mixed feelings about this. I mean, I've kind of mentioned this to you earlier, but I've quietly been observing the fact that the Ravens do like to mix their guys around as far as put them in different positions on the line. And I think that could make it difficult for a young guy like Tyre, who, let's remember, played 1 year of high school football, played 2 years of JUCO, 2 years of D1, and then was thrusted into the pros, right? And then if you recall, he even started that, as a rookie. So hasn't had a ton of time to really hone in on a singular position. Do you think that hindered his progression and development as a player?
Possibly, but when a player comes in, if he's, especially in the offensive line, because it's kind of unique in that it's 5 positions, in one group, whereas the tight end is one position in that group and the wide receiver is one position in that group. Well, offensive line's a bit different. And I think if you are a stud, like if you come in and you prove that you can play tackle, like when he was given the opportunity to play tackle, I think if he would have taken that opportunity and ran with it, then the Ravens would not even asked him to kick inside and see what his potential is as center. And I think the same, but I think you're always chasing to be a tackle. And then when you can't live up to being a tackle, you move inside the guard. It seems to be, kind of the way things go. But if he would have shown that he is a dominant right tackle, then they wouldn't have put him at left guard. I think the big thing is they were trying to find where he fits because they saw the physical traits. They saw the massive length. They saw the height. They saw the good feet. They saw his ability to move at that size is just rare combined with his strength. So I think they saw the intangibles. They saw the tangibles, and they said, let's see if we can, find a good spot for him in the offensive line. They kept moving him around. So I think to the Ravens' credit, they tried. I mean, who got more opportunity than Tyre Phillips? I mean, this guy was given so many opportunities to compete and win jobs, and he just couldn't get out of his own way. I mean, I could see if he was just underperforming, but when you're underperforming, plus not knowing your assignments, plus getting penalties, it's hard to blame anyone but Tyre himself.
Yeah, I mean, I think I tend to agree with you, but I can also empathize and understand the logic behind, like, they should have stuck the guy left tackle. This is or left guard. This is your position. This is what you're playing. Focus in on solely that, right? So I can see both sides, but I tend to lean towards your side. But generally, I'm not like this. I'm not very one-sided in this. I can kind of see both a little more than I normally would. But I want to stay on the O-line real quick, Glenn, and talk about some other news that came out. And that is Ronnie Stanley's deal being restructured to open up $6 million and change for the Baltimore Ravens in salary cap space. So generally, when the Ravens do things like this, there are moves on the horizon, right? We know that Eric DeCosta right now is probably wheeling and dealing to see what he can do. Everyone is hinting at JPP. Do you think that that's a real possibility? Like, what's the likelihood of that in your mind?
Well, I think it's definitely encouraging to see them clear out that space. My only thing is, what does it really tell you? Does it tell you that they're preparing to sign someone? I think it's very likely that could be why they're clearing the space. But why did they turn to Ronnie to find that space? And so me just kind of reading between the lines, what has me worried, Jimbo, and tell me if I'm crazy or if I'm reading too much into this. If they thought they would have a deal coming together soon with Lamar Jackson, knowing that's going to create plenty of cap space, more than this deal could have. So does it mean that they turned to Ronnie? They converted $8.4 million of his base salary into a signing bonus, which created $6.3 million in additional cap space. Did they do that because they they knew they weren't going to come to an agreement with Lamar Jackson, and this is the only alternative to create additional space.
Man, I hate that. You're probably right. I mean, I think that they might have had this discussed with Ronnie for a while and had it as a failsafe.
Mm-hmm.
And said, look, if we don't get this deal done with Lamar, we're looking to do this. And Ronnie, I'm sure doesn't mind.
Yeah.
Anytime there's a restructuring, guys, someone gets paid sooner or gets paid more, right? Like it's not, players aren't giving money back in 99% of the situations, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, he'll take his money now, right?
Mm-hmm.
Sure, no problem. I'll keep chilling. He's getting paid, collecting checks, and right now not playing football. So not that he's loafing it either. I'm sure he's working hard to get back. But yes, that's a great observation, Glenn. And I didn't initially put those two together, but I think I agree with you. So I would say every day it dwindles on the chances. The door shuts more and more on the chances of Lamar getting that deal done before the season starts.
Yeah, we got 9 days left before
yeah,
that.
And can we just get into it? I think we have to, because the Russell Wilson deal.
Yeah, you talk about players never giving money back, or the deals tend to not go down. But another quarterback has signed, Jimbo, and another quarterback has agreed to less guaranteed money than what Deshaun Watson got. I mean, massive difference in those guarantees. And so does this – let me pull up the deal here. Do you have it in front of you by any chance?
No, but I can get it.
I'm just curious, because does this mean that it's not just Steve Bisciotti that's looking at that deal as an outlier and wants to make sure that deal remains an outlier and not the new norm? Is this another example of owners making sure that people understand that is not the expectation, what Deshaun Watson got, that is a complete outlier in a desperate attempt by a terrible franchise to pull themselves out of irrelevancy by overpaying for a quarterback that has tons of baggage, and it's really the only quarterback that they could have gotten at that caliber, unless they were able to draft one, which seemingly they just could not do.
Yeah, I mean, I think you're right. Like, so there's a few interesting things about this contract that I want to say here. It's of course a 5-year deal, $245 million. So still more total money than Deshaun.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, it's $165 million guaranteed. So, and if you loop in the money that he was already owed guaranteed, I think it's like he was already owed 41 left or something like that on his deal.
Oh, dude, he's got 7 years, 296 left.
Right. So, but as far as new money that the Broncos have to commit to, they were already committed to the remainder of his existing contract, right? So it's even more favorable for the Broncos, right? Like, I know that sounds like a ton of money, but at the end of the day, it's still a way better deal, like you said, than Deshaun Watson. So yeah, I think it's the team's attempt to, like you said, to make sure that people realize that Deshaun's deal is an anomaly and we're not going to 100% guaranteed contracts, right? But this is the real question. Does this make it harder for Lamar? Like, what does this do to Lamar's deals? A few things that come to my mind. Generally speaking, Lamar's agent would be like, crap. You know what I mean? Like, this ain't a good day, because this is just another peg in the Ravens, in the Ravens tally that says, look, like, Deshaun's money isn't real, right? But I also think that this is ultimately what it comes down to. Do you think that Lamar would take $200 million guaranteed, 250, 5 years?
I think you would.
Because what that does is it makes him the highest paid in 5 years total money at the time. And makes him the second highest paid by over $10 million in guaranteed money. Only behind Deshaun Watson, who, like we said, the teams think is an anomaly. So it's funny, because I feel like that number has been something that you and I have landed on a while back.
Yep.
But what is it? What's going on? What's the holdup, Glenn? What's the real? Is it Bisciotti not wanting to put that money in escrow? Is it the Ravens saying, I mean, maybe there's whispers. Not that we believe this. Maybe the Ravens do have some concerns about Lamar's health. I don't know. I don't think they should, like, just me. Like, because we know this is a thing, Glenn. We know that injuries, it doesn't matter. Like, Lamar's gonna get paid.
Mm-hmm.
Like, unless he becomes incapable of ever playing football again in the next 12 months, the dude is going to get paid, right? So, like, what is the holdup?
It's a head scratcher. And that's, I think, what's driving people so crazy is that we don't know what the holdup is. Because I think that if it's got to be the guarantees, right? It's got to be something to where the owners just don't want that to become the precedent. They don't want that to become the new norm. It's the only thing I can imagine because, like, I would have zero problem. Like, if you look at the top 5 in annual salary, Aaron Rodgers is 50.2, then Russell Wilson at 49, Kyler at 46, Deshaun at 46, Pat Mahomes at 45. If you want to give Lamar 5 for 255 and give him 51 a year, all guaranteed, I'm fine with that. But maybe Steve Bisciotti just doesn't want to jump out there with those guarantees. That's the only thing it could possibly be, Jimbo, is the guaranteed money. I can't imagine it being the length of the deal. But here's the thing, Jimbo. If you're Lamar Jackson, would you be more open to, instead of taking, what if Bisciotti said, you know what, that's just too much guaranteed? How about this? How about we do a 3-year deal for $153 million? That way, I'm only putting 153 in that escrow, like you're mentioning, and you're still the highest paid annually, and it's still a fully guaranteed contract. And
why would you do that if you're Lamar?
Because now you can hit the market again at 28 years old, still in your physical prime, and now who knows what the market's going to be at for quarterbacks? You could double dip and hit a home run.
Yeah, but he's going to re-up with 2 years left on his next deal anyway.
Why is that?
Well, because that's what everyone does, traditionally speaking, right? Like, Russell still had 2 years left on his deal. All these guys, 2 years left on their deals when they start having those conversations. So I'm not against that idea, but if I'm Lamar, it would have to be more than that. Like, and the problem is that it creates less flexibility in the short term for the Ravens. You can't manipulate that money as much. So I think that would be the difficult thing. That's a good point. I think ultimately what it comes down to is, I don't think the Ravens in total spend, I don't think we've been in the top 10 in a long time, Glenn. In a long time. I'd like to know the numbers for that. I wish DK were with us tonight, but it's been a while that we've been in total spend in a year, or, whatever. So that's including, of course, everyone has the salary, but that's including bonuses and whatever, right? Like the stuff that's not hitting the cap.
Yeah.
So, man, it's just really interesting to see what's happening. And I mean, the Ravens aren't new to this. Joe was in the same situation. Now, Joe is not Lamar Jackson. Lamar Jackson is not Joe Flacco, but they're not new to this. Joe didn't hit the franchise tag, even though he went and played on the last year of his deal. The Ravens paid him. So maybe they're just not as worried about it as we are, because they've been in this situation before.
Yeah, and maybe they feel, I think the Ravens also have got to feel, I don't know what the right word is, like encouraged, or but when they see Russell Wilson not come close to those guarantees, when they see Kyler Murray not come close to the Watson guarantees, they got to say, like, that was I don't know. I just, that daggone Deshaun Watson deal, I feel like just screwed everything up.
But this is the other thing too, that, while I know the Ravens went through that experience with Joe Flacco, like, Lamar Jackson is different in that he's a consensus next in line to be highest paid, where Joe was like, there was a debate, that was kind of the thing. Yeah. And so that's the only difference, to where, like, for me, if I'm the Ravens and I'm Eric DeCosta, and this is probably why I'm not Eric DeCosta, I'm doing everything I can to get Lamar to sign $200 million guaranteed, $250 over 5 years, because I just don't see how waiting does you any good. There's no way. I don't see a single scenario where the Ravens pay less.
No. Well, yeah,
I can't conceive a single one unless Lamar Jackson no longer plays in the NFL.
And let me ask you this, and take a second. Is there any advantage for the Ravens for letting this season play out?
I don't see one. I don't see one. Like, I'd love to know what it is.
Yeah. I just don't, I don't see how this could, go well for, waiting. I just get it over with. I'm tired of talking about it, honestly. I'm sick of it.
It's exhausting. Like, just pull the tooth out. You know what
Yeah,
I
and
mean?
let's
Whatever
move on to
analogy you want to give
what's
it to,
on the
like
field.
Bishotti, just take a deep breath.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Relax, sign that check, sign that
Mhm.
paperwork, get it done. Get your little DocuSign out on your computer down in Florida because I'm sure they don't do paper anymore. It's just bloop, hit the doc,
Yeah, whatever you got to do.
sign it up, and let's get it going. So, but I think that the Ravens looked at that deal today and said, all right, something we can anchor ourselves on. You know what I mean? Now we got 2 deals we can anchor
Oh, I'm
ourselves on.
sure, but I mean, it's just like, okay, you
Then
can
we got to get it done now. The
and
urgency
that
increases. You
it
know what I
doesn't
mean?
change it. If I'm Lamar, does it change my opinion on my worth? It
Yeah, I
does.
guess not. He
It
said he's
doesn't.
his own
So
man. Like he doesn't look at other people's contracts, right?
so
But if
while
that's
it
the case,
helps,
then why is he looking at Deshaun's contract?
that's a good point.
Just saying.
You
But
know, Jimbo, you're
anyway,
pretty bright. But hey, let's get off the Lamar thing for a moment, if that's
yeah.
okay. Because I mean, we've talked on these airwaves plenty about that. But I thought something was kind of funny. Jeff put it up there. Jeff Zrebick, of course, of The Athletic, put a tweet out there. You know, we always joke about the Jets being,
Mhm.
being the team that picks up all the former Ravens and signs them. Dude, it's not even close. It's the other New York team that's doing it all. And I think part of it is due to them signing Wink Martindale as their defensive coordinator, but there's an awful lot of offensive players going there. So, Jimbo, let me give you the name of some of these guys. I know a lot of people were hoping Tony Jefferson would be back here in Baltimore. He is now on the practice squad of the Giants. Jalen Moore, recently cut wide receiver, is on the practice squad. Chuck Wiley, Will Holden, CJ Board, all on the practice squad. And then Tyre Phillips gets claimed off of waivers, signed to the active 53-man roster for the Giants, and joins Ben Bredesen, Justin Ellis, Jihad Ward, and, of course, former quarterback Tyrod Taylor. So they got a ton of ex-Ravens, Jimbo, on the field and in the coaching staff.
Yeah, it's interesting to see because, like you said, the immediate connection is to the defense, right? But I think it just shows the respect that teams around the league have that have experience with the Ravens. It shows how much respect that they have for their ability to find and develop players,
Yeah.
and the respect they have for the depth of the roster. Where Wink probably knows, look, we ain't got it like that as far as depth goes. Our third and fourth guys ain't like that. You know
Yep.
what I mean? So we need to go out and let's go get their guys while they got it, because a guy that gets cut from the Ravens is probably equal in talent to a third, fourth string guy on another roster, right? So interesting moves by the Giants here. I don't know if it amounts to a pile of beans.
Well, I mean, I think that Wink Martindale has certainly an advantage when he brings a guy over that already knows the defense and knows the terminology and can be a bit of a coach on the field. I think that certainly helps, but it speaks to the point that I brought up yesterday, or maybe it was last week, when I talked about how, they had the list of total number of players competing for roster spots, and then their original team that either drafted them or signed them as an undrafted free agent. The Ravens had by far the most players across the league that originated right here in Baltimore. They had 112 players competing for roster spots here and around the league. And, that's by far number one in the league. And so this just goes to speak to it. I think teams like to grab former Ravens because they know they're going to be well coached, well prepared. They know they're going to be good people because the Ravens will not draft or sign you as an undrafted if you have a checkered past or you're viewed as not a good person. So, yeah, a home run. The Ravens are now the feeder system for the rest of the NFL, it seems.
Yeah, isn't that funny how that works, man? Like, you get a reputation, and that's just kind of how it goes. But I think it's one heck of a good reputation to have.
Absolutely. No doubt about it.
We got to get to probably the most important part of our show today, Glenn. And that's the recent injury to, it's just absolutely devastating. Right?
Yeah, hard to I love John Harbaugh coming out and being all serious that Poe has an injured drumstick. He is gone for the season. They will conduct a worldwide search for Poe's replacement. Coach said they will lift up every stone, turn over every leaf until
I'm thinking about going in there, dude.
Dude, you should do it, bro. I think I would be pretty good as Poe too, dude. I'm pretty out there, but I don't know if I can fit in the suit. I don't know what the dimensions are of this suit, but I remember they looked like they weren't the tallest, so maybe I'm too long for the suit. But I would love to do it, dude. I love the kid. Marty Mart love the kids. You know what I'm saying?
Oh my gosh.
You know,
Yeah,
any Martin fans out there? No. Okay. Old TV show back in the day. It's my jam.
But anyway, but yeah, shout out to Bo. Hopefully he gets better. And it'll be interesting to see what if they bring Edgar Allen back to the crew.
Out of retirement, dude.
That's right, as Poe continues to recover.
That's it.
They could put like a gut on him, you know?
Oh,
as
yeah,
they bring him
and
back.
then slowly shrink it as the season goes.
Like get him back in shape, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I like it.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right. So we got what? A week? Oh, no, we got 10 days left as of today for the regular season to kick off.
Yep.
One final thing I want to bring up to you. They asked about Ronnie Stanley. He's still yet to participate in team activities at practice, but is out there for his individual whatever he's doing individually. I'm not sure why you need to be activated off PUP to only participate in individuals, but I'm sure they know a better reason. But is there any chance that he could be? Is he going to be ready week 1?
Nope, not a chance. I can't depend on. There's no offense to Ronnie Stanley. I hate doing this, but can't depend on the guy. Just can't. Yeah. And it stinks because I think Ronnie's a great dude. I don't think he's loafing it. I think he really wants to be out there, but it is just the fact, right? Like the facts are the facts. And, just like Einstein says, when the facts change, my answers change.
Yep.
And right now the facts haven't changed. So it's tough for me to say he has any chance of being out there. What about you?
Yeah, I would be absolutely stunned. He's still not getting pushed around. I mean, he's still not absorbing a defender, who's going to be trying to tear his head off. Like, if you're not ready to do that in practice, then I can't imagine you're even close to being ready. Even close to being ready to take on some of these edge defenders from around the league. And I know people kind of bust on the Jets and kind of pick on the Jets because of their recent lack of success, but it's still an NFL team, and they have a hell of a front seven. And
hell of a quarterback under center. Woo!
There you go. And a hell of a leader on defense in CJ Mosley.
That's right.
I love this. A lot of Martin fans in the
Well, you know what my favorite one is though? The Lake Trout, dude. Lake Trout, bro. I love how they talk. Have you seen where they talk about that on The Wire? I don't know if you remember that reference. But he's like, man, why does everybody call it Lake Trout? There's trouting from no lake. What lake's around here? We're in West Baltimore.
They gotta ship them out. All I know is my favorite character from Martin was Bruh Man from the Fifth Floor. I know everybody who watched Martin remembers Bruh Man from the Fifth Floor having his I wish sandwiches because he wished he had some meat to go on that daggone sandwich. But anyway, we're not here to talk too much about that. But yeah, I think that what Ronnie wants to do is make sure he doesn't have a repeat of last year where he probably feels he pushed it to get back and had a massive setback that caused him to miss a whole season. So I think he wants to be ready. But what are we waiting? Why activate him off PUP if he's still not ready to practice? I don't get it.
When do you push him out of the Eagles nest, right?
Yeah.
And say, hey, buddy, it's make it or break it. Like, let's do this thing or let's not.
Exactly. I don't understand why he has to take, because when you activate him off the PUP, then he's got to take a roster spot.
Yeah.
But he's not practicing. So why not leave him on PUP and then you can give that roster spot to some. I just don't understand it.
I don't either, man. Yeah, it's really going to be an interesting thing. I want to get your take on this, Glenn. How are you feeling about this season overall as far as you're concerned about injuries last year hurting us this year?
Mm-hmm. Well, I'll say that I thought that most of the guys would be further along in their recovery from injury. Like, if you asked me 4 months ago, would J.K. Dobbins be ready week 1? I would have said absolutely. He's going to.
Well, should we talk about him? Did you see the video with the limp?
No, I didn't. There's a limp.
There's a. Here, I'm going to pull it up.
There's a limp.
Yeah. Well, there's an argument going on.
Is this
Twitter.
swag or limp? Is it swag or limp?
Well, to me, it definitely looks like a limp. But
dang it! But him, he's one. But Gus, I would have thought Gus would have been ready
for sure.
I would have thought everyone except for Bowser, I thought would be ready because Bowser's the only late season injury. Everyone else was earlier. Let me see.
Okay, hold on.
All right, run it back. Oh, I didn't like it.
Yeah, you want to see it again? How pretty it was?
Oh, well, hey, look, here's the optimistic side of me. He could have been just fighting a cramp.
Yeah, it didn't look like no cramp to me, my man.
Well, see, then yeah, I mean, I thought that all the guys except for Bowser would be ready week 1 and would
Yeah,
be big time
just
participants.
rearing to go right in camp and things like that.
Yeah, so disappointed. I mean, there's only really Marlon was back, but his was an upper body thing, so it was never really much concern. Who's ready that got hurt last year? I mean, Marcus Peters, I think he's going to be out there because, I mean, they put him up in front of the press. I can't imagine them doing that unless they expect him to be out there, but he still hasn't performed in complete with all his teammates yet in practice. So it's just like, I don't know. I was expecting more, but look, this could just be the team taking it extra careful.
Mm-hmm. For sure. So I'll say this too. I'm not, while I was being a bit dramatic about the limp, I don't know if I'm crazy concerned about it.
Okay.
Uh,
All right. Maybe it was something else. It could have been something else.
Yeah, I saw somebody in the Casey Millard says the limp is on the wrong leg.
I can't tell which leg he's limping. I can just tell he looks like he's uncomfortable and he's
yeah,
kind
he
of
does look a little
gingerly.
uncomfortable. But I also think that that's still gonna be normal for a while.
Yeah.
Right? Like, I mean, it's just you get a major surgery. Just because you're uncomfortable doesn't mean you're limited. You know what I mean? Like he's still working his way back. Like it's normal.
Yep.
I don't know.
Yep.
So if I think it's probably a lot of it's about pain tolerance. I don't think that because he has a limp, it means, oh shoot, it's going to increase my likelihood of getting re-injured, right? Just because after a drill, he limps for a couple paces. Now, if he has a consistent limp, sure. But you understand my point, right? That like he's still rounding out. He just needs time to continue to do so. But that doesn't mean he can't perform on the field at this time.
But I mean, it's just not a good look when you're walking gingerly, but yet you can somehow take on 240-pound linebackers.
Yeah.
You know, I'm not so sure. But Edwin says we just got put down the. You know, come on now, Edwin. When you look at that video, it's not encouraging.
Yeah,
I mean, I get that it could have nothing to do with the surgically repaired knee. It could be something, you know, completely separate. But I don't know. I'm worried. But one thing that got me
Plus, Edwin, it's like, dude. I mean, give me a piss test, bro. I'm good. Like you're okay.
Yeah. No,
I got clear eyes here, dude. Clear eyes, bro. That was a limp, my man. Sorry.
Yeah, something. It didn't look comfortable. I'll say that. But
it was the hitch too. You saw like the hitch, right?
Yeah. Oh, it didn't look good.
I'm surprised that was the first time you saw it.
Yeah, I hadn't even,
because it's like this big debate. You know, everyone's like limp, no limp, issue, no issue.
Oh, jeez.
It'll probably be on Pat McAfee tomorrow.
I'm sure it will, as he just continues to bite off our material.
That's right.
But I did a bit of a, you know, I've been excited about Josh Ross, and you know, I mentioned the fact that he, you know, on that touchdown that he gave up where the running back came out and he just wasn't able to keep up. And then I looked back at his combine results and saw, you know, that he I think ran a 4.9 something if I remember correctly. And so that was my concern, is that will his speed become a glaring weakness, and will offensive coordinators consistently find a way to match him up on guys that he just can't stay with? And will that be too big of a problem for him to overcome? But I went back and I looked at, I always record the games, and I recorded it. And of course I watched every, you know, I tried to focus in on him on every snap. Jimbo, I got a whole less worried about his speed when I just really made sure I focused on him in every play. This guy, his ability to read and react is so far and above, I think, every other linebacker on the team, including Pat Queen. And maybe it's just the react time looks quicker to me, but I mean, I would stack him up next to Josh Bynes and read and react and say, and I'd be happy with it, you know. Mm-hmm. The guy's instincts are incredible. I love the physicality in which he plays with, which is a big criticism we have about Pat Queen. He attacks blockers, dude. He attacks them. He can hold them at arm's length. You know, that way he can keep an eye on the running back and then can shed and make the tackle. I mean, this guy is exciting, man. And then I listened to his press conference that he had yesterday, and I like him even more, Jimbo. I mean, this guy is so likable. Dude, he's so likable, hardworking.
He's a leader, in my opinion, too. You can tell.
Yes, just completely impressed with Josh Ross, and I think he has a chance not just to be like a back end of the roster guy who contributes mainly on special teams. I think by season's end, he is an impact player on the defensive side of the ball.
Come on, you can keep it coming. You can keep
Yeah.
it coming, Glenn.
Yeah,
Just soaking it in right here.
dude. I mean, the guy blew me away by how much. By the way, shout out to Black Daniel. Shout out to Don C. I saw y'all over in a different podcast last night. I jumped in live. I saw this new podcast. I jumped in. I sent a comment out there, and he actually put it up on the screen. But shout out to Black Daniels and Don C. But go ahead, Jimbo. Tell us. Gloat in your.
I mean, look, I've been. People have said my takes are relatively inaccurate. Just another one in the win column for me. But you know what? I'll just move on and be humble in victory. And just another.
I'm impressed, man. I mean, this guy. First of all, the admiration he was showing for Zach Orr and how he's like, that guy's done what I want to do. Like,
yep.
Came from where I came from and got to the heights that I want to get to. And I just the guy was so like, he's just such a likable guy. I just love how the Ravens, the guys the Ravens bring in, man, they're just good dudes, man. Plus they're good football players. But KP says JK responded.
Yeah, he did. He said, do I have to walk like a robot? ? Shut the F up. It ain't a limp.
Whoa, okay. Could you told me that before? I said it was a limp. Now JK is going to be upset with me. And I don't want that.
No, I don't think any of us do. Not right now. That's for sure. Let's see. Edwin says, I'm trying so hard to stay positive. Maybe his cup shifted and made him take a funny step, JK.
Been there, bro.
You okay?
Been there, bro.
But here's the thing. I don't know how many of these guys are rocking cups, dude. Let's be honest.
That's true. That's true. A lot of professional athletes do not
just put the boys on the line
and just hope for the best.
Yeah.
Hope for the best, man. Yeah.
That's for sure.
Yeah, let's hope that. And by the way, shout out to the O's. 3-0 win over the Guardians. Back-to-back shutout victories for the Orioles as they continue to chase that playoff run. Drew Frazier, I was telling you about Ross last stream.
He was getting at you, Glenn.
Was this Drew? Okay.
Yeah.
Somebody was coming after me. If PQ was doing what Ross was doing, we would say he has arrived. Ross is awesome and a great find. Awesome. Hey, I wouldn't say I was ever like wrong because I never like said he was trash. I just questioned whether his speed would be too big of a hill to overcome. But I am happy to admit when I am wrong because, guys outperform my expectations or please prove me wrong on the field because that means my Ravens are doing well. Same with any of the guys. We criticized a lot of Justice Hill, and we've been quick to kind of point out that he's shown us something this year. So yeah, you were right. Jimmy was right. I was, I guess, wrong in certain ways, and that's fine. I'll take that.
Yeah, no, for sure. I mean, just got to take it on the chin, my man.
No,
but
I'll be wrong a lot more too.
That we know that with the over-under, that's just.
Oh, here we go.
I'm excited to get that one started back up again.
Dude, I'm gonna kill it. I'm gonna smash you guys into the dirt this year and have every fan in here behind me.
And in last place.
Not this year though, Jimbo. That was last year. This is a new year. Shout out to intern Brad.
Where is he? Oh, there he is. What's up, Brad? Dude, freaking Brad.
Coming up with a new logo, by the way, guys.
Yeah, little do you guys know, Brad is coming in clutch.
Yes,
yeah, so looking forward to that. And hoping that things are going well at VTech. Shout out to Brad for starting his first semester there. So get it, dude. Don't be out partying too late.
But do a little.
But enjoy college.
Yeah, do a little.
Just do
Brad says he's gonna win the over/under. Oh, so Brad's in the cup this year.
Oh yeah, for sure. It's gotta be, dude.
All right. Well, hey, that's fine. I'll step on top of his head on my way to the top as well. Dude,
it's funny because you really remind me of a Cowboys fan right now for some reason. Like, it's a new year.
Look, it's the same thing I tell my son. I don't care if you get beaten that rep. You know what you do? You get up and you tell that guy across from you, said, not this rep, though. This rep's Glenn, my rep.
You got to watch Ted Lasso, dude.
Well, look, I'm just saying.
Dude, why is the goldfish the happiest animal in the world?
What's that?
because it has the shortest memory. 10-second memory.
There you go.
Be a goldfish. That's a line from Ted
I
Lasso.
like
Dude.
it.
Gotta watch
I like it. Yeah, this one's my rep. You know,
Yeah,
you got
dude.
me last time. You got me the time before that, but not this one, Jimbo.
Well, it's
not
funny
this
because
year.
Don C said he wanted us to talk about 90s sitcoms, but I got to be honest. I think I would struggle in that category. I don't know, because like when I was a kid, we didn't have cable, so I had like 3 channels.
Well, I've seen every episode of Seinfeld as well, so
Yeah,
I can go pretty ham when it comes to those sitcoms. I got
I
you.
think I would really struggle with 90s sitcoms. I mean, I don't know. Like,
But
what are
The
some
Office
popular
is
ones?
well, I think Seinfeld's one of them. Martin, Martin was
Dude,
another one.
so like that would be on like CW when they started doing reruns. I remember that.
Yeah, there you go. That's one. I mean, I think of some of the other ones, the classics. Friends is a big one that people love. My mom used to watch that a lot. I watch sometimes with her, but I'm not a big Friends guy. But then
Yeah.
also King of Queens was a big part. I
Oh,
love
dude,
the King of
that is my
Queens.
show.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah, love King. Oh, Family Matters, dude.
Yeah.
Thank you for saying that, because I'm like blanking on a lot of them. But dude, Family Matters. By the way, the dad on that show was hated Steve Urkel, that Steve Urkel took. Oh, Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. Are you kidding me?
That's true.
Every episode of the Wayans Bros, seen all that with the newsstand in the shop, seen all them. Yeah. I was a big TV show watcher. Not anymore. Don't watch a single. The last TV show I've watched was The Office, and since then, none. But yeah, all those, yeah, seen them all.
Seen them.
You
Oh
know?
gosh. Well, look, I think that's all we got tonight, ladies and gentlemen. In the next live, we're going to be giving our last full season win-loss prediction for the Baltimore Ravens. So make sure to join us.
Yep.
We obviously will be keeping up with the news, and next week is
Roseanne.
kickoff week. What's up?
Shout out to Katie. Roseanne needs to learn how to spell it, but
Yeah.
absolutely correct. Boy
There
Meets
you go.
World. Yep.
Dude, Boy Meets World was on, what did that like TGIF? Remember the TGIF programming, dude?
Oh yeah. Oh, that was, you're sitting around waiting.
That's right. The good old days, man.
Yeah, Tanja, I watch sports. That's it. Movies, I watch movies, but no TV no more. Sports, movies. You know what I'm saying? That's it. But yeah, that's it for us tonight. Oh my goodness, Kay just spelled my name with one N. You know what? I got something for her. I'm about to, when these mics go off. But thank you guys for all joining us tonight. Tanja Bowman, Lisa Ann, Katie, yes, Katie, my love, you as well. Don C, Yolanda, Prince Quan, Edwin, intern Brad, Drew Frazier. I know there's many, Black Daniels, Don C, everyone. I'm sure I missed a bunch. Thank you guys so much for joining us. And yes, like Jimmy said, we will be back soon. We have our win-loss predictions, which, by the way, I'm going to knock right out of the ballpark.
Yeah, we'll see about that.
Like Gunnar Henderson last night in his first major league game. But that's it for us tonight, and we'll talk to y'all later.
See ya.